Today you are going to get some practice taking some video notes. Please title your page. And then I've set up my notes today to take up a whole page. So if you follow along with me, then your notes will take up the right amount of space. But if you want to add anything, please do so. So maybe you want to jot some notes on the side, ask some questions, maybe add a picture to help you remember. These are your notes, so please add whatever it is that you think would make it more helpful to you. So let's start by talking about motivating students. And what I have found in my class, students are using this expectancy value cost model when figuring out if they're going to actually engage in an activity. So let's talk about how video notes are going to meet the expectancy requirement. So expectancy is that students know what to expect. And with video notes, what you have to do is you've got to make it so that your goals are clearly defined. I find that I need to often script out my notes in advance, and that makes it so that I can really cut down to what are the most important things. And then students know that they are going to be able to have everything that they need in these notes. They know that I'm going to give them examples. They know that they are going to get opportunities to practice, and the goals of the notes are clearly defined for them. Next is that students know how to complete the task. So when they sit down to take video notes, they know exactly what's going to be required of them, and this increases their expectancy. It makes it so that they're more willing to engage because they know that they're going to be able to complete that task. And finally, they're going to feel capable. They feel capable of completing the task because they know what to do, they've done it before, and this becomes routine in the classroom. So they're going to have high expectancy, they're going to know what to expect, and they're going to feel really comfortable being able to do what is expected of them. This helps them engage in the activity, it helps motivate them. The next part of the model is value. And it's really important that students must value the task. In my class, having video notes is really going to make it so that they have a greater success on tests, and that is of high value to them. And in my class, I use OpenNote tests. And so students know that if they have a really complete and organized set of notes, that they're going to be able to use those notes on their tests, and that's going to help them to score better. But even if you don't allow OpenNote tests, having a really well-organized set of notes makes it easier for students to study because they know what it is that they need to learn. And then they're also going to find value in the ability to practice. So I haven't embedded any questions in this, but I often embed questions in my notes, and that's going to allow students to get immediate feedback on their learning. So they're going to know, are they understanding what's being talked about, or are they missing the mark? And then finally, we have the cost. And cost is a time and effort analysis. So there is zero time cost with these video notes, and that is because they are done in class. So I am not flipping my classroom. I'm not expecting that students are doing these for homework. These are being done in class, which means that students are going to be sitting in the room anyway, and so there's zero time that they are losing. That cost analysis is done for them. And also there's low effort. And it might seem counterintuitive that you want something that's low effort, but when there's low effort, students are more likely to engage because they know that it's not going to be too hard for them. Having something that is set at a really high effort level is going to make it so that your students are just less likely to even start the task. So video notes, the task is easy to complete. So that's in terms of motivating students. With video notes, I really find that all of my students are engaged in the activity. They are doing it of their own accord, and I really don't have to monitor behavior, and they're using their technology in ways that is really working for them rather than being distracted. But there are also some other benefits. The first is that there's adjustable speed. And that's going to make for easier processing. If you've ever listened to a podcast or an audiobook and had to speed it up or slow it down to make it so that you could understand it, then you know that adjustable speed is going to really affect your ability to process. There are crash course videos that I have to slow down because the talking is so fast that I just cannot process it. But I also find that if the talking is too slow, then I'm really not able to focus. And students, they have different processing speeds, and being able to adjust this on their own is going to be really useful. It's individualizing that instruction. They're also going to pause and rewind. And this is really helpful because they don't have to stop the entire class if they weren't able to write something down, or if they need to think about something a little bit more, or if they want to ask a question. So they can pause whenever needed, they can rewind and rewatch on their own, and this is also individualizing that instruction for them. Instead of having it go at one speed for the whole class, each student is able to make adjustments. All right, closed captions. We often think of closed captions as being something just for our hearing impaired students, but a lot of students find it helpful to be able to read and listen at the same time. That's going to help them really focus and also be able to understand the content better. So having closed captions is going to help not only those students that are hearing impaired, but it's also going to help students that are working on literacy, and especially in something like science, being able to see the word and hear the word at the same time is also going to be helpful for their language development. If you've ever had a student with an IEP or a learning plan that requires that they can preview material in advance, you can just give them the link to the video notes and they can do all the previewing that they want. They can also review material after the fact without you having to be in the room. So it's really great for both previewing and review of material. Embedding questions means that you get whole class feedback. So I will often use Edpuzzle, and that's going to make it so that my whole class has to respond to the questions that I ask, rather than be talking in front of the class and having a question and have one or two students raise their hand, and then hearing from those one or two students and assuming that everyone else understands. I'm actually able to check in real time and make sure that my whole class is understanding a concept. At the end of the notes, if I see that there's something that the whole class missed, I can immediately address that before moving on. And this one is probably my favorite. It's really going to free up your teacher time. I'm teaching 5 classes. And so if I were to spend 15 minutes doing direct instruction for all 5 of those classes, then that's just a lot of my time during the day where I could be doing other things. So for example, one of the things that I'll do while students are taking these video notes is I'll have individual chats with students that were absent or with students that didn't turn in an assignment. So I'll just walk over, have them pause, and then we can have a little chat right then and there, and I don't have to worry about following up with them in office hours or after school where we know that they have a lot of other things going on. If it's something that I really need to get done during the day, like if I need to give feedback on an assignment or get some grading done, I can do that. I can prep a lab and then just be available for students when they have questions. And all of that can be done while I'm in the room and while students are actively learning. That's going to give me back more time in my day, and it's going to make my workload much, much more manageable. All right, so those are our video notes. Hopefully you enjoyed the process of taking the notes and you have a better understanding of why I use these in my class.